Okay, today's my wedding anniversary, and my smoking hot wife Cher said for our anniversary present she would like recessed lighting in the kitchen. So that's what we're going to do today. As you can see, I had originally fluorescent lights here. They're noisy. They make a lot of crackling and popping as they get warm and cool down. So I removed one already to kind of get an idea what I was dealing with. So I'm able to tell that the joists are structured in a way that I should be able to get wires pulled through without too much trouble. So for right now, just got a wire fish kit here, stud finder, beep, 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 beep. No, just kidding. Anyway, hole saw, got some recessed panel lights, LED. I think they're adjustable with color and hue or something like that. So we'll see what that's about. Extra wire, and we will see how it turns out. If I screw it up, you'll be watching that too. See what happens. Tape and mark. So got me a 5-foot stick here because the distance I'm looking for is 5 feet from each wall, and just it's got a little point on the end. So all I'm going to do is hold it up, hold it against the back wall, try to make sure it's perpendicular, and make sure that our marks are exactly 5 foot. They are, they're pretty good. So we know we're going to be making our hole here. And I'm going to do this for each 8 of the lights from both walls, and we'll get us lined up perfectly this way. We had to do the lengthwise with the tape, and that was cumbersome, but this should make it a lot easier on the other dimension there. We'll see what happens. Hole number 1 done. Okay, we got the holes drilled. They look pretty lined up. Pretty happy with the way it came out. And so next we have to do wiring. So we know where to go. Okay, as with any government project, we have scope creep, and so in this form we got our holes for our lights done, but now we want to install some track lighting above the sink because we don't really have any light above the sink, so we want some light there. So we're going to install this right up there. Okay, to install this light above the kitchen, I had to make sure that it was clear to do that, so I was able to look through this hole with a mirror, but I have all open space up there. So we're gonna use one of these because you need a box to install a light on. And then I want it to run off that switch there, which controls this light here. So, okay, you can see I got the over the sink track lighting, or rail light. Got the box installed. This one was pretty easy to do. It even came with its own saw on the back to make a perfect hole. Got the wire fish through, had to go to that hole first from where we had our lamp. So now got to put the box back for the lamp. Before you're saying I should have put the wires through the box before then, I can just slip it over. So we're good. We're good there. All right. Well, anyway, as you can see, it's pretty dark in here. All of our lights our fluorescent lights are gone. Now we're starting to wire up the recessed light. We got our over the sink rack light working. Okay, so the way these work, there's a ballast or control box for each light. You see what they look like there. They have a plug that you can see there that connects to this plug right there on the control. What you do is you bring in your 110 through this hole right here. And now it's just a knockout, so you have to add the clamp yourself, but I always use them so that the wire doesn't chafe on the edge of the metal. Then you connect them to these weird little connectors here. And I was looking at them, I thought they went in the front, and there was no place, and I looked in the back, and there's a place for three more wires in that connector. And that's so you can kind of daisy chain them around without having to run a wire to each individual light from a single source. And that makes a lot of sense. I was really panicking about that, but now that I saw this connector, it's all good. So what we're going to do is wire these up above each light. Don't connect the light yet. And then on the side, there's like a color selector, like daylight or warm light or whatever. And we're going to have all the lights hanging at once, and then we're going to adjust the color before we install the lights up in the ceiling, because once you do that, you know, it's hard to get them back out. You don't want to trip the drywall. Then once all the lights are in, we start repairing holes after hole after hole after hole. And so we're going to have to completely texture this area of the ceiling, and maybe even have to paint as well. Oh well, part of the job. Okay, we got the wires run, the holes cut. We got the connection boxes connected. It was quite a bear. There's the main connection box. That's where the power is coming into the whole string. So that's good. And we adjusted the colors. And now I'm going around setting the colors, closing the boxes up, and then pushing everything up in there. So next we got repairs to do. And we'll start mudding that up tonight. Actually, the repairs are going to be the worst part of this whole thing, but that's the way it goes. All right, I got the lights in. Still got a lot of patching and repairing and things to do on the ceiling, you know, from the previous fluorescent lights that were hanging there. I'm pretty happy with the job so far. I'm really happy about the little rail lights we put there for the... I started working on patching the holes. That's what it looks like. Really lights up the room. Gets rid of those boxy lights. Really came out nice. I went ahead and patched the holes using the pink stuff that when it's dry it turns white. Let that dry for a day or two. Come back and sand. Then the fun begins. We get to mask everything off and texture. Very messy, but it'll look nice. Okay, so a couple of disclaimers here. I'm not a licensed electrician or handyman or anything like that. So when you do these kind of projects, it's a good idea to check your local code and things like that. And safety is above all, most important thing. Before I did any of the wiring, I secured the wire to those lights and the wire and the switches at the breaker box, things like that. If you're not sure what you're doing, then I always recommend getting an electrician to come help you out with at least hooking up the lights and things like that. So we got our repairs to the ceiling done. I couldn't really do it and film it at the same time because it just was such a mess spraying the texture around. So I'll show you what I did, the tools I used for texturing, and it's pretty easy to do, just kind of messy like I said. Okay, we have Home Max walls and ceiling texture. It's basically just a powdered version of like spackle and something like that. You mix it with water, and depending on what you're doing, you may want to mix thin or thick and things like that for large texture projects where you need a lot of rough texture. I also used a texture gun that I got at Harbor Freight. It's actually a pretty good one, and I don't mind getting tools from Harbor Freight like this because it doesn't have to be precision or high quality or anything like that. It does come with 3 different nozzles, a large one for rougher textures and knockdowns, a little smaller one for things like orange peel, and then I used this small one because I was just trying to spray a real thin mixture of texture up on the ceiling to just kind of cover some of the blims, things like that. You can see I mostly got them fixed. I have a little spot there I got to touch up, and this ceiling is not painted, so it's you know, that's really nice because it's just the texture that I spray up here. It's already a flat white, and the whole ceiling is has not been painted. So any repairs I do, I just simply spray on some texture or paint it on, and it blends right in. If you paint the ceiling, eventually all paint changes color over time, even if you buy the same paint, and then you might run into a problem where you have different colors of paint on your ceiling. And if you have a large ceiling like this, that wouldn't be good because then you'd spend all your time having to repaint the whole ceiling every time you did one little project or repair. Anyway, that's it. This one came out pretty good. I'm happy and kind of surprised, quite frankly. On to the next project.